Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy.
We give you the courtesy of conversation.
That's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac.
I'm Wesley.
And this is the show. So I want to start off with this article I found here. It's saying ATF urged to back away from gun grab threat. So a group of Second Amendment supporters who have successfully halted a Biden administration initiative aimed at penalizing numerous gun owners has now advised the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives to completely abandon its continuous proposal concerning AR-style pistols. Now, what they're talking about is that they want to come and have people, they basically want to go to your house and take your gun from you. So what they're saying is it's an attachment. So like you could have a Glock and your Glock could have an attachment where it can actually turn into an AR-style gun. And so they're trying to halt that attachment. They're trying to make it illegal.
Is that almost like a switch, what they call switches these days?
No. The switch goes on the back of the Glock, and that just makes it turn automatic.
Into automatic. Okay.
Which will give you, if you get caught with one, it's 10 years in jail. No, this is like it's an attachment. So you would take your Glock and pop it in the bottom of it. Now it has a bump stock.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. I got you.
Yeah, you have everything on there. So, and they were trying to criminalize it and basically make it illegal. So even if you owned it, it would still be illegal. So they would have to come get it. Now, this is one thing I'm gonna tell you: as a legal American gun owner, you ain't coming to get my guns.
Say it again.
As a legal American gun owner,
I like to hear that.
First of all, I don't like how we're being attacked because one guy goes out. He's crazy. Look, you can't stop crazy. All right. So why are you blaming all the people that own the guns and we're law-abiding citizens? It's our Second Amendment right, but we're always constantly under attack because of criminals. Criminals are going to get guns. I don't want to live in New York or Chicago where I'm not allowed to own right now, or where I'm not allowed to own the guns, but all the criminals have the guns.
I think you can have a gun in New York.
Yes,
actually 8 bullets. It's like eight, no more than 8 bullets or something like that.
Actually, New York's going through something right now where actually you have to go to a police station and they judge by your character if you can have a gun permit or not. They don't check your background really. They just they just think about it like, I don't think this person deserves to have a gun. And they're trying to revoke that right now because it's stupid. But in New York, you get caught with a pistol, you got to go do 2 years. They just had a gentleman, I don't know if I had the article, he picked up gunsmithing. So he was ordering the pieces and he's putting guns together in his apartment.
Gunsmithing, huh?
And so they gave him gunsmithing. That's what it is. It's when you buy the gun, you put it together yourself. And he was just hooked on it. It was a black dude, but they gave him 10 years for doing that.
I mean, shit, man. You know, I mean, sometimes you gotta look at what the laws are in your area. I'm not saying that it's right. I think that our Second Amendment, it should be unimpedable. We should be able to own the weapons that we want to own in this country. But at the same time, I don't like the way that our laws are set up. Our laws are set up. I mean, not just our laws, we don't even teach people the right way to use firearms in this country.
No, you have to actually, they make you take like a firearms class to buy one here in Washington. But the one thing that's crazy here in Washington State, they banned AR style pistol or guns, right? Mm-hmm. And so my friend, his rights were taken away from him because of the law. Some right he had, so he had to turn his AR in. I was like, well, here, just give it to me, and you can keep it in my house or whatever, right? And so we tried to switch it over, and the place I called, they said, no, you can't do that. You have to turn it in. I was like, well, what if we go to Oregon and do it? And he explained to me like this, and this is what's crazy, Washington, but a lot of people are figuring this out. If you have a Washington State ID, you can't even leave the state and go purchase an AR-style pistol or AR-style gun at all. Nowhere. Like they've taken our rights away to own these guns. And it's crazy. I live on the coast next to China and Russia. Okay. They're coming for us first. And I gotta hold them back with 8 shots.
We definitely gonna have to start getting some better people in office, some more. I got a friend of mine, he called himself a libertarian. And I told him, I said, I think I'm a libertarian. You know, I mean, I have more liberal, progressive-based views, but I also do care about, our Second Amendment rights. You know, I also do care about looking at more into the Federal Reserve Bank, stuff like that. And so, but my biggest thing is this right here, man. We don't teach our people enough about guns. We want to have gun laws. We want to let anyone have any kind of gun they want, but we're having mass shootings at a rapid pace. This isn't government putting this out there. These are people doing this because we have a low educated populace. But I mean, we have our economy's not bad. It's pretty decent. But I mean, a lot of people are messed up out here. So we have a lot of racist people in this country, we have a lot of people who are just poor, who make poor decisions. people who are not really bred very well as far as like what their parent, and as far as their parenting, not saying that, and it's just, it's a problem.
Period. Well, I mean, the economy is in the trash. I mean, you can look at the stock market, and for you, sir, you're a businessman. You can look at the stock market and be like, hey, the economy is pretty good. And a shopper could go to the store and see my deodorant's $8 and realize something bad is happening.
Let's stop that. The only people who ever used the stock market as a barometer were Republicans. Then all of a sudden, people study, then all of a sudden, these were the rich Republicans who used it before. And then all of a sudden, your middle class Republicans, people who want to be Republicans, started using it when Trump got in office as a barometer of how well the economy was doing. Look at the stock prices are high. They didn't care about that shit before, but all of a sudden Trump's in office, it became a thing. The stock price is at an all-time high, rather than looking at the real economy and how we really are. So it's not, I don't use that as a barometer of how well the economy is doing. I wanted to bring up, if you want to.
Okay, well, I mean, speaking of Donald Trump, he was recently giving a speech to the National Rifles Association, where he suggested that, former President Trump suggested Saturday that he could be considered a 3-term president if he clinches a win next November. Speaking to the National Rifle Association on Saturday, Trump questioned whether he would be a 2- or 3-term president if he secured the win in 2024. Now, like I said, if this man gets elected, he ain't leaving. But if he can do 3 terms, then that means Obama can do 3 terms.
I mean, that means anybody could have did 3 terms at the end of the day. I think we only had one 3-term president that I'm aware of, that I know of, and that was Roosevelt.
Roosevelt, yeah.
That was Roosevelt. That was wartime, though, at that point in time as well.
Actually, that's the reason they knocked it down to 2 terms, because, they were like, because he could have got elected for a 4th term. Yeah. And they were like, nah, that kind of makes it seem like, we're
a dictator
and stuff. So they're like,
kind of got it,
Yeah, and he was a good president.
He died in office coming into his 3rd term, I believe. Anyway, I think he passed away or something happened like that. But
he caught a disease. Something happened to him where he couldn't.
He was crippled and everything.
He couldn't walk anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at Donald Trump. He's not lying to you. When you have senators like Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio who are not willing to say that they will ratify election results, however they may be, come November, because of how they feel the election turned out. Are they cheating? I just watched him on a show on CNN, Ted Cruz. He's sitting there arguing with a woman. He's like, well, are we sure there weren't any illegal votes? And you've got 100 and something million people are better voting. Maybe there is, but there's not enough to say that they haven't found enough or even any to say that this would have overturned what these election results would be.
And let's speak on that fact. So Fox News was peddling those same lies, and then they got sued by the voting machine company, and they settled out of court because as soon as that would have went through, it would have destroyed their reputation. Rudy Giuliani, who we didn't even talk about, got served on his 80th birthday for Arizona, and they're all going down for election interference. So, I mean, you can say, oh, no, they must have missed some votes or people voted illegally. No, you tried to overthrow an election, and people are going to jail for it now. They're building a criminal conspiracy case now. In 6 states, I believe, right now. Only it was 7 states in total, but Wisconsin has not filed against it. Yes, they've been slacking in Georgia because they're trying to get Fannie Wills, who just got reelected. So good luck with that one.
She won her primary. She had an opponent. She won her primary. So, I mean, with this guy, like we say, we know how he gets down. Him trying to run for a 3rd term or push himself in, he has the backing of the people who will not go against him. Yeah. So it's a possibility.
I just question why don't people like freedom? Because I mean, I'm not going to say under Donald Trump we're not going to have freedom. If he gets to be a dictator, you won't get to. He may right now you may support him, which is fine. You can support whoever you want. Here we're not here to judge you, but once he does something you don't like and you start to speak up about it, he's going to shut you down. He'll get rid of everything off the internet if it makes him look bad. And that's not what freedom's about. Freedom, you could say and do whatever you want. You ain't free of the consequences, but he's going to make sure you won't be able to. So I don't understand why people are fighting against freedom.
We've seen with the Republicans, the bills they tried to push during this whole entire peaceful protest against the Palestinian slaughter. We've seen how they've come against that. So we kind of understand what Republicans are willing to do when it comes to your freedoms and your rights. On another note, Ireland, Norway, and Spain have announced they will recognize Palestine as an independent state, becoming the first European nations to do so. The Norwegian prime minister said that there can be no peace in the Middle East without a two-state solution. Ireland's new prime minister referenced Ireland's own history of emerging from colonial rule as he recognized Palestine's right to do so as well. Israel responded to the announcement by recalling its ambassadors from Norway, Ireland, and as well as Spain. And the reports are Malta and Slovenia may be the next European nations to recognize Palestine. So this is a pretty big development here, because if enough countries start recognizing, these are countries that are in the EU. I mean, not the EU, probably the EU as well, but are in NATO. So when you start looking at countries that are a part of the, of NATO doing this, that starts moving the needle.
Yes.
And you also had Colombia's president speaking out and saying he's going to put an embassy in the West Bank, for a Colombian embassy. This is after he removed this is after he got rid of, I think Israel got rid of their embassy in Colombia because Colombia had basically went with South Africa and said that they were committing war crimes.
Yes.
In the Middle East. So they removed that, and I think that Colombia left out of Israel as well. So these countries are really starting to coalesce around a smarter kind of approach to Middle Eastern, diplomacy.
And then speaking also, and also, my bad to cut you off, but after the ICC arrest warrant, Germany has come out and said they will arrest Netanyahu if he steps foot in Germany. And so at first, I was big, like, that's pretty big. And then I was like, damn. And now, Israel and Germany don't have that much of a good relationship.
But they do. People don't realize how much recently they do. Germany's been supplying. They don't because of the 6 million.
Yeah.
They don't because of that. But other than that, recently, as of when that passed, they've been supplying them with a bunch of weapons. They've been actually getting in trouble for some of the stuff that they've been doing to help Israel during this entire kind of process here. But on top of that, like I said, there's 124 countries that recognize the ICC, which is the International Criminal Courts. Yeah. And all those countries, this is where Putin can't go to these countries because he has a warrant for his arrest right now. Netanyahu's about to have a warrant. It's like you're going to pretty much be like a jump out boy. You're pretty much going to be like a jack boy in the streets. You can't go certain places because they looking to get you.
Yeah. So you can't even fly. You can't even charter a flight nowhere because they're going to know when you land.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. It's a beautiful thing right now.
He gonna have to check in. And
you see what America's doing. We're the baby back the whole bunch. Every single time we run up behind Israel, trying to save them. Every single time we basically, Secretary of State Blinken has told senators that Biden administration is potentially ready to work on efforts to sanction officials at the ICC for appointing Netanyahu and his defense minister as war criminals.
Crazy.
Asking for arrest warrants.
Crazy.
Yeah, this is what, and look, that they are about to let Netanyahu speak to a joint session of Congress. This is right now. They just have the House. That's Mike Johnson. He's the leader of the House, Speaker of the House right now. He's a Republican. They just have the House that are going to sit down and let them speak to them. But they're trying to get Chuck Schumer, who's the leader of the Senate, to allow to get the Senate over there. So it's a joint session of Congress. So Netanyahu can spout his fucking lies that we all know he's going to spout about why this and why that and why he's killed 35,600 people. Kids and whoever else, and why there's humanitarian aid that's not being let into Gaza. You know that the UN has stopped even bringing in humanitarian aid into Rafah because of escalating Israeli attacks. The U.S. built a pier in like Rafah. And they haven't even they've admitted that no humanitarian aid has even been sent through this pier because of what's been going on. So I mean they're starving people out. They know what's going on,
and then they're trying to make it seem like the people in Gaza are destroying the trucks with the aid on there. How can hungry people do that? They're hungry.
We didn't do it. There's video of the Israelis taking aid off of trucks, throwing it in the middle of the street. There's footage of all this stuff happening, man. So we all know what's going on. We really need to always keep our foot on Gaza, of course. But at the same time, though, let's not forget about what's going on over in basically potentially our third war front, which is Taiwan. I don't know if you have that one.
Yes. Well, Taiwan is actually surrounded right now by the Chinese Navy. They're saying that they're just doing It's drills. Hold on. I didn't. I
Military
just
exercise. They call them, but they're calling them punishment drills.
punishment drills. Exactly.
That's what they're calling them right now. Punishment drills. I mean, before they were military exercises, now they're calling them punishment drills. Like it says, China has launched 2 days of military exercises, quote unquote, punishment drills around the island of Taiwan after the self-governing territory inaugurated its new president. They said the military exercises will serve as a strong punishment for Taiwan's separatist actions. Taiwan's president said that he would defend the island and strengthen the military in response.
And so China surrounded him. And in the words of Cat Williams, well, you shouldn't have been talking shit. You know, because that's what they did.
Absolutely.
As soon as he started flapping his lips, they're like, okay, we're going to show you what we can do. We'll surround you. And they have the whole island with air and sea.
Yeah, I mean, what they did was, and they also went into like the eastern part of the island, because that's the one part of the island where I think some Japanese islands run down near there, and it's also near the Philippines, because that's going to be their main supply route that will be able to supply them weapons. And they actually went into that part of the island. They hadn't done this before. This is the most aggressive they have been. They're very serious about Taiwan because they understand us being in Taiwan. Taiwan's 80 miles off their border. You know what I mean? 80 to 100 miles at the furthest point to some places.
Yeah.
You know, that's like imagine what's 100 miles from you driving. Now put that in a boat, you can go in a straight line.
And they're saying that the real thing is they want Taiwan, then they want to come for Japan.
I don't think though. I mean, that's going to be a tough one. Japan's got nukes. I think with them, it's Taiwan, because if you look at Taiwan used to be a part of, it still is to them, a part of China. The people who were on Taiwan used to be the government in China.
Yeah, in China, yeah, and they fled to Taiwan, yeah.
And they fled to Taiwan. That's kind of what happened. So I see that they do have some type of it's like Putin in Ukraine. You know, this is his backyard. They used to own it. That's how they feel about it. So it's understandable. But at the same time, this is a government. They have their own government. They have their own businesses. They've been doing it for a long time. This isn't Hong Kong. This isn't a part of your mainland. And so it's going to be a problem. I think it's going to be a flashpoint going forward.
But that's just like anybody, though. It's like, look, I know I could take it, so I'm going to take it. You know, what you going to do? This is my turf now.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a, go ahead.
I wanted to bring up this one. Wisconsin Senate candidate says old people shouldn't get to vote because they're almost dead.
I'm not laughing about the almost dead.
I know, right? One of the only reasons, what is his name? Hold on, I gotta find it really quick.
Is he a Democrat?
Primary coughed up Don Boldock, a retired general who believed that there were little boxes in public school classrooms. All right, so this man, I'm gonna read you the quote he said. He's like, well, if you're in a nursing home, you only have like 5-6 months life expectancy anyways. Almost nobody in a nursing home is at a point to vote. And you had adult children showing up and saying, hey, who voted for my 85 to 90-year-old father and mother? So he wants to put a cap on voting. Wow. He said he's like, he proposed a retirement age of 72 for workers in their 20s before they could qualify retire for benefits. So he wants to stop it at he wants you not to be able to vote after 72, which is crazy.
So like 5 or 6 years, pretty soon it's gonna be like 72 is gonna be the retirement age. Right now, I think it's like 67 or something like that.
I think 67. Yeah, they keep moving it because they say people live longer, which is also crazy anyway.
So after you're done working, you can't vote no more.
You can't vote no more. If you
crazy,
hella crazy.
This is crazy, man. Like,
but this is who they propped up. This is who they propped up. Think about it. They're taking away your women's rights. You can't. You can't. Look, the rapists are getting less time than the women, and now they don't want you to vote after a certain age. I mean, like, if you can't vote after a certain age, you shouldn't be able to be an elected official after a certain age.
I'll say that again. That's a great point right there.
Well, my mom says it. My mom says it all the time. A woman of wise words. She said people need to stop electing and re-electing retirees.
That's what's happening, man. That's all. They did a pan version of, like, they panned through the whole crowd of like all the House and Senate members. Man, it looked like a oval
geriatric home. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's what it is. It's the people around them are handling them. They're too old to read all them pages. They get distracted.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Hey, let me bring up 2 more quick points. But like 2 progressive Dems lose Oregon primaries after AIPAC tie group funds opponents. Back in the U.S., two progressive Democrats lost their primary races in Oregon Tuesday after they were vastly outspent by more right-leaning candidates. Mrs. Jayapal, the older sister of Congressional Progressive Caucus Chair, lost to a Maxine Dexter, who received around 30 times more money than Jayapal including over 2 million from the pro-Israeli AIPAC affiliate 314 Action Fund. Jayapaya called for urgent campaign finance reform after the vote. Elsewhere in Oregon, progressive candidate Jamie Skinner was defeated by Janelle Bynum, who received nearly $500,000 from the 314 Action Fund. And so this is what I've been telling everybody about. It's just like helping putting together pretty much lobbyists, PACs. This is what's going to get people in office. I bet you both of these two have kissed the ring of Israel. They're voting out lockstep or whatever's going on with Israel. They're going to win. These are both Democrats, but they call them right-leaning Democrats because they're probably more pro-Israel, maybe pro-gun rights or whatever the case may be. I'm okay with that part of it, but you know,
which is crazy how a foreign country could actually, you know, mess with our elections like that, and America just lets it happen. Like, I've been questioning a lot of stuff since we've been doing this show, and it just seems like, you know, America is run by Israel. It's not the other way around. Which is weird because, you know, like, what do they have on us? You
got to go back and do your research. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on throughout history. Go back and look at when the Federal Reserve came into power. That's one big thing. You know, you got to kind of look at the monetary systems of America when that all started occurring. You know, on top of that, you go look at the ICC. Go look at the comments that were made by the ICC as well.
Yeah.
You know, remember what the guy said. We talked about this in a different episode where I was like, why is it that the ICC, these African leaders are always put on trial and they're getting all the time, and why can't they go get these other guys?
And we were watching the interview, and the guy said, he's like, yo, the people are getting upset with me. We're like, yo, that ain't for us. That's for the Africans.
And thugs like Putin. They said for the African leaders and thugs like Putin. This is exactly, so we called this out before it was even this. Yeah. They told this is the head of the ICC, one of the head prosecutors of the ICC.
These are leaders of other countries saying this to him. This is only for the Africans and thugs like Putin. It's not for us, because we're supposed to be able to. Not for us, but we just act like it is.
Exactly. You know? It's like I say, it's all been a game, man. And at the end of the day, if we don't start standing up, because the world is changing, countries wouldn't step out of line like this before from America, that they're doing now. You have so many countries that are kind of pushing their own agendas, man. And I love to see it happening. Of course, I'm an American first. I want to see our country win, but we have to change the way we're thinking. We're becoming Motorola, like I always say before. We're becoming Motorola. We're getting old, and we're not thinking ahead right now. So another thing I was going to say, a judge blocks part of a Florida anti-immigrant law. Arizona GOP advances anti-immigrant bill measures. In Florida, a federal judge temporarily blocked a part of a new law that would make it a felony to transport undocumented migrants into the state. The measure was pushed as part of Governor, what do you call him?
Oh, John DeSantos.
Ron DeSantis.
John DeSantos.
Attacks on immigrants. Meanwhile, in Arizona, the state Senate advanced a Republican-led ballot measure for November election, which would allow local and state agencies to detain undocumented people crossing the southern border and allow state judges to order their removal from the U.S. Arizona Democrats and immigrant justice advocates have condemned the measure for further criminalizing migrants. And so this is, again, like, they put this on their November ballot that basically, hey, you can stop and then take them in front of a judge and kick them out right away, right here. Even though so that's not even, they don't have to even go through the federal kind of like procedures and processes that are put in place. They're trying to make it so they can do it right there in their country. And they put that on their November ballot. Like I said, I think I spoke to my brother earlier. This is what you do. You put things on the ballot in November that you know people are going to turn out for. Yeah. I think abortion's on the ballot in Arizona, and I think this new measure's on the ballot. So who do you think is going to turn out for this type of a measure right here?
Republicans.
You're hard, right-leaning, everyone's going to want to vote for this. And who are they going to check off in the boxes by default? Other Republicans.
Yes. So exactly. They have the laws. They're just going to put them in front of the court and just deport them instantly.
They're going to.
So what happens if you don't have an ID? And they just bring you in there, and they don't want to prove who you are. They just send you to some random country. I can't go back to Haiti.
You know what I mean? This is we both know how these states are going to work this measurement. They used to have outside jails in this state right here, man. Isn't it to say like Arpaio, whatever his name was? Where they the sheriff who put you in pink and
made you like you at the farm and stuff. He's like, jail shouldn't be fun. It should be hard. It should be hard work. Man. And then he went to jail.
Yeah, then he went to jail. I think then Trump pardoned him.
Pardon him? He probably did.
I think Trump pardoned him, got him up out of there. You know what I mean? He got him up out of jail, man. Just like Trump's other buddy, Justice Alito. You know what I mean? I don't know if Justice Alito. Justice Alito flew another right-wing flag used by Trump supporters outside Holiday home. Another flag favored by diehard Trump supporters was seen on display outside another one of Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito's homes. The New York Times reports that an appeal to heaven flag, a symbol carried by insurrectionists on January 6th, was photographed flying in front of Alito's New Jersey vacation home last summer. The flag featuring a pine tree is found in far-right Christian circles. One quick point, it's also outside of Mike Johnson's office right now. This comes just weeks after the New York Times reported Alito flew an upside-down U.S. flag outside his Virginia home in January 2021. Well, what happened there? A symbol used by election deniers. Even before Wednesday's latest revelation, some 50 House Democrats wrote a letter calling on Alito to recuse himself from the January 6th related cases, including Trump's claim to presidential immunity and his election subversion cases. An appeal to heaven flag also hangs outside, like I said, the office of Mike Johnson.
Damn.
This is where we're at, folks. You know what I mean? This is what's going on. We have our Supreme Court justices taking sides. This is supposed to be an office where it's just you're pretty much middle of the road and you decide the cases on the merits. It's not happening in this country anymore. Our country's going to, we're turning on each other, like we always talk about, But we got to make sure.
Make sure you like, listen, and subscribe and share. I mean, let us know what you think in the comments. And this is Uncommon Courtesy.